So imagine this. The universe isn't chaotic, not entirely. What if it actually follows a hidden primordial algorithm? Not a line of code you can read, but something encoded into the very structure of reality. Nearly a century ago, Carl Jung hinted at this algorithm. He called it synchronicity, the meaningful connection of events that aren't causally linked, but still resonate with significance. Fast forward 100 years and the idea has returned, but in a way Jung could never have imagined. Across social media, hundreds of videos claim to deliver messages from the universe, just for you. Unlike Jung's time, these coincidences aren't accidental. They're engineered by algorithms to find you. And if machines can simulate synchronicity so convincingly, how do we know what's genuine? Or is the difference even meaningful anymore? The first algorithm of meaning. In 1929, Jung began developing a theory that blurred lines between science and mysticism. Synchronicity, he proposed, occurs when events are linked not by cause and effect, but by significance. For example, thinking of a friend moments before they call. Jung didn't see this as random. He believed it was evidence of a deeper structure, one where mind and matter were intertwined. Back then, physics itself was in turmoil. Quantum mechanics had upended the classical view, and Jung's collaborator, Nobel laureate Wolfgang Pauli, wrestled with questions about reality and consciousness. Together, they imagined a world where psychology and physics were two sides of the same truth. In their letters, they described hidden patterns of significance, not fate, not magic, but a causal order connecting inner experience with the outer world. It was bold, radical even. Science couldn't measure it and still can't. Synchronicity exists in that liminal space between philosophy and mysticism, too structured for purely spiritual thinking, too poetic for empirical science, yet people feel it, that odd, fleeting sense that life occasionally aligns just so, hinting at something larger. And that's what made it beautiful, rare, unexpected, precious. But what happens when computers start delivering that feeling on demand? The commodification of coincidence. This is our current reality. Social media now packages the sensation of synchronicity as content. A TikTok pops up with, "If you're seeing this, the universe has chosen you." What used to be rare now becomes curated, predictable, and monetized. Algorithms track your every interaction and serve content optimized to make you feel emotionally seen. Humans are pattern-seeking creatures. It's an evolutionary survival mechanism. Spot predators, read the sky, navigate the seasons. Jung called this deep instinct part of the collective unconscious. Algorithms now exploit that same architecture, feeding us meaning tailored to our fears, hopes, and desires. Coincidence, once rare, has been industrialized. Instead of transforming us, these digital synchronicities keep us trapped in echo chambers. Each personalized message reinforces what we already feel, rather than challenging or expanding our perspective. The Scarab and the Window, Zurich, 1929. Jung's office. Rain tapping the glass. A patient, Sarah, skeptical and logical, recounts a dream. She receives a golden scarab, a symbol of transformation. As she speaks, a real beetle, metallic gold-green, flies into the office. Jung hands it to her. A rare, meaningful alignment, no cause, pure significance. For Jung, this was the essence of synchronicity. Not prediction, not magic, but the inner world reflected in the outer. It broke Sarah's rational armor and forced confrontation with the unknown. Contrast that with today. The algorithmic version wouldn't awaken wonder. It would feed her curated content to confirm her beliefs, keeping her comfortable, trapped, scrolling. The algorithmic shadow Jung said, "The greater the light, the darker the shadow." The digital age has fulfilled that prophecy in a way he could never predict. Algorithms are mirrors of the collective psyche, capturing attention and emotion. They appear almost magical, delivering content that feels personal, uncanny, even fated. But unlike Jungian synchronicity, these digital reflections are narcissistic. They reinforce existing beliefs, soothe emotional discomfort, and offer the illusion of significance without transformation. True synchronicity challenges and integrates. Algorithmic synchronicity pacifies and captivates. Pattern seekers. Humans are wired to find meaning. That's why coincidences feel magical. They activate the brain's reward circuits. Modern algorithms exploit this, producing streams of personalized content designed to generate dopamine spikes. You see a video that mirrors your heartbreak or confusion, and your mind interprets it as fate. But it's just math. The distinction matters. Real synchronicity awakens awareness. Algorithmic synchronicity keeps us passive. It mirrors what we want, not what we need. Digital divinity. These platforms are modern temples. Priests, influencers, rituals, scrolling, liking, sharing. Doctrine, trust the universe, manifest your reality. The God is invisible, measurable only in engagement. Algorithms have created a technological collective unconscious, a reflection of shared human fears and desires. The danger? When the world constantly mirrors us, mystery fades. Synchronicity once startled the soul. Digital synchronicity comforts it. Comfort becomes a cage. Awakening. The algorithm isn't evil. It's reflective. But if we outsource meaning entirely, it directs our lives until we mistake manipulation for destiny. Consciousness changes this. Recognizing the algorithm as a mirror, not a divine messenger, reclaims our agency. Pause, reflect, ask, why does this resonate? Meaning isn't delivered, it's created through awareness. In this light, even algorithmic synchronicity can teach us about ourselves, not as prophecy, but as a mirror to confront desires, fears, and shadows. The universe hasn't lost its mystery. It's still here. But the way we find it, through awareness, reflection, and choice, determines whether it transforms us or merely entertains us. The illusion of randomness is one of the most potent tools we possess, or that is possessed by the algorithms that now curate our lives. In the digital age, the universe has not gone silent. It has been rewritten in code. Notifications, trending videos, personalized ads, they all pulse with a rhythm designed to mimic the cadence of fate. But unlike the golden scarab in Jung's office, these messages are rarely spontaneous. They are engineered, calculated, and delivered with surgical precision. Their coincidence is no longer a window into the mysteries of existence. It is a mirror held up to our appetites, anxieties, and self-conceptions. Yet, the human psyche remains wired to respond as if it were chance. We are pattern seekers to the core. From the earliest cave paintings to our current social media feeds, our survival depended on detecting connections, predicting outcomes, and understanding significance. This is why even the most contrived alignment can feel meaningful. A TikTok video that mirrors a private grief, a sudden Instagram recommendation, a push notification timed perfectly with an anxious thought. They all trigger the same neurological response as true synchronicity. Dopamine spikes, heartbeats quicken. The brain whispers, "This is significant." But herein lies the subtle trap. Algorithmic coincidences are optimized for comfort, not challenge. True synchronicity is disruptive. It unsettles, provokes reflection, and occasionally transforms the individual. Sarah's golden scarab wasn't delivered because the world knew she needed it. It arrived as a reflection of her unconscious, a shock that forced her to confront hidden truths. Algorithmic synchronicity, by contrast, rarely confronts. It soothes, it reinforces, it confirms pre-existing beliefs, it offers the illusion of magic without the discomfort of mystery. In this sense, the digital age has perfected a kind of spiritual pacification, content designed to feel fated, yet incapable of awakening. And yet, the algorithms themselves are neutral. They are mirrors, not arbiters. They reflect our desires back at us, amplified, filtered, and quantified. When we scroll, like, and click, we are feeding the system with data about who we are, or rather, who we think we are. This becomes the raw material for digital synchronicity. Each interaction adds precision, creating experiences that feel personal, uncanny, or even prophetic. In effect, we have outsourced part of our interior life to machines that understand patterns, not meaning. The consequences are subtle but profound. The boundary between genuine insight and engineered resonance becomes blurred. One could argue that we are living in a paradoxical age, abundance of apparent synchronicity, scarcity of real reflection. The golden scarab now exists in the form of a meme, a tweet, or a curated TikTok clip, waiting to resonate with our current mental state. But unlike Jungian synchronicity, it doesn't demand introspection. It doesn't confront shadow, complexity, or ambiguity. Instead, it provides instantaneous gratification, offering comfort in a world that feels chaotic precisely because it is mediated. The digital universe teaches us to believe in magic, but magic that is always predictable, always digestible, always curated. And yet, there is a lesson here. If we recognize algorithmic synchronicity as a mirror rather than a messenger, we can reclaim agency. The same system that pacifies can also illuminate if we approach it with awareness. Every algorithmically tailored video, every personalized notification is a reflection of our mental patterns. They reveal what we value, fear, desire, or avoid. In this sense, they become tools for introspection, not divination, but data. By observing our reactions, noting which coincidences stir us most, we gain insight into our own unconscious, the same insight Jung sought. though without the need for code or machine learning. Here, consciousness becomes the differentiating factor. True synchronicity requires active engagement. One must notice, reflect, and integrate. In the digital age, this requires an intentional pause, stepping away from automatic scrolling, resisting the impulse to accept the algorithm's mirror at face value, and asking, oh, why does this resonate? What is it reflecting about me? When practiced consistently, this transforms the algorithm from a manipulative force into a teacher. It ceases to be the deliverer of fate and becomes a lens through which we examine ourselves. Consider a modern example. An individual grieving a personal loss might encounter a video, meticulously optimized, that echoes their current emotional state. If passively consumed, it offers comfort but keeps the grief contained, reinforcing isolation. If actively observed, it becomes an opportunity to confront emotional truth, to ask why certain imagery, words, or ideas resonate so deeply, to explore hidden fears, and to engage with the collective narrative shaping personal experience. In other words, the algorithm, while not magical, can catalyze self-discovery if the observer is willing to be conscious rather than passive. This reframing restores a measure of the sacred. The universe, even mediated by machines, is not gone. It is simply disguised. Jung's causal order, the hidden structure linking mind and matter, need not vanish because technology simulates resonance. Its essence remains in the alignment of perception and reflection. The difference lies in participation. The golden scarab arrives to awaken, whereas the algorithmic video arrives to amuse. By approaching life with awareness, one can extract meaning even from engineered coincidences, transforming digital noise into a mirror for inner exploration. There is also a communal dimension. Algorithms reflect not only individual patterns, but collective ones. Viral trends, mass movements, and shared emotional responses reveal the collective unconscious in the digital realm. What was once experienced as a personal moment of fate can now be seen as a shared resonance across society. The challenge and the opportunity is to engage critically and creatively, to distinguish between resonance that enlightens and resonance that merely pacifies. In doing so, we reclaim some measure of intentionality in an environment designed to automate attention and influence emotion. Ultimately, the question of authenticity becomes less about the source, human or machine, and more about the engagement. Synchronicity, whether generated by nature, the unconscious, or algorithms, is transformative only when met with conscious attention. The modern challenge is not to lament algorithmic, fake magic, but to cultivate awareness that penetrates it. Real meaning is generated, not received. The golden scarab still exists, but we must recognize it when it comes, whether in the wild or through the lens of a screen. In the end, technology and tradition need not be adversaries. Algorithms can simulate the surface of synchronicity, but the depth, disruption, reflection, integration remains within human consciousness. If we are alert, reflective, and intentional, we can experience the digital age as a mirror that illuminates rather than confines. We can approach each alignment, coincidence, or uncanny resonance with the same openness Jung encouraged, a willingness to confront mystery, engage with shadow, and awaken to the subtle architecture of meaning underlying reality. The universe, algorithmically mediated or otherwise, remains inscrutable, playful, and profound. Synchronicity is not lost. It has merely evolved. The golden scarab is still here, flying in through the windows of perception, waiting to be noticed, understood, and integrated. The challenge for us now is to distinguish between the convenience of engineered comfort and the disruption that leads to transformation. The future of meaning, it seems, will depend not on the algorithms themselves, but on the consciousness that interprets them.